Welcome back to Taiwan Outlook. We have a special guest today. He's the translator of the Chinese edition of The Lord of the Rings. Lucifer, we've been talking about your experiences of doing a translation for the novel. And you have your own fantasy foundation. Tell us more about it.
Well, after I earned a lot of money from Lord of the Rings, actually I get royalty from Lord of the Rings, kind of like $1 million US. So I think, well, I cannot spend all the money. You know, for a young guy, I was only 27 years old at that time. I was thinking that, okay, maybe I should share the money I earn to those young kids who are looking forward for me to change the society into a more fantasy world. So I established my own fantasy foundation. I try to encourage young kids to write their own fantasy, to draw their pictures, to even design the costumes and shoot short videos. So that's the original idea of why I established Fantasy Foundation, because there's very few people at that time encourage people, young kids, especially young kids, to do what they imagine they could be.
And was the idea well received in the society?
It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good for the first 2 years because I got enough money for that. So I expect not only for the foundation, but I also create a fantasy arts award. I borrow a lot of names from the traditional Chinese culture, like the idea of writing fantasy novels. I put it into a genre called Green Dragon Award. Then if you're drawing your own fantasy pictures, I use the name White Tiger. Then if you are designing your costume, I said it's a Phoenix Award. And I kind of put everything into the genre and encourage people to do what you like. If you want to write something, join us. If you want to draw something, join us. Then at first, people were really happy about that. But eventually, you got to get to the fundamental things. I mean, I can spend a lot of money on that, but if I cannot motivate or encourage other people to actually join that, it won't help. It won't help.
But I think that also has to do with the educational system in Taiwan. As we know that our kids in the school are always very disciplined, you know, and they tend not to think out of the box because they'll be getting them in trouble
or punished.
So you know, how about our educational system?
Well, let me tell you one story I've heard. Well, I'll put it into something easier for people to understand. We got one kid from high school. And when teacher asked what you are going to do in the future, he said that I want to be J.K. Rowling, the one who wrote Harry Potter. But actually, our young kids get punished.
Really?
Because the teacher said, oh, no, you are not going to do that. Being a writer is not something you should do. At this time, you just read your homework, do everything, and join the college. And then maybe you can try to find your own dream. So that's the problem of our own education. Our education is trying to force you into one track.
That's right.
But most of the high school teachers think that, okay, you got to join the college in order to do something. But as a adult, you know that's not the true answer. Even if you don't have the time to actually go to the college, you can still change the world. But not the teachers or the education right now. It's not that flexible.
And I know you're also touring to different schools, campuses, and trying to inspire the young kids. What are the major messages you want to give to the young kids?
Well, you know, the kids in Taiwan, they are really brilliant. They are fabulous. They are clever. They are smart. They can do almost everything. They are innovative. They want to do what they like. But the biggest challenge is that we train them to be a sort of examination machine. They can do the exam very well, but they do not know the reason why. So what I want to tell them is that you got to have your own dream. You got to try to know something that you really like. You would like to sacrifice something for it. So I go to a lot of high schools. I spend my own money to support the whole speech tour. But the interesting part is that most of the high school, they will invite me once. But only that once. Because
why is that?
The students are really happy. They are exciting because it's the first time in their whole life that someone is telling the truth. They said that you do not necessarily go to college, but the most important thing for you is try to find your own dream. Maybe you want to be a painter or someone like an artist, or you want to run marathon. You should do that. But the school teacher said, okay, Lucifer, we're not going to invite you again because after you finish your talk here, the students become very, very rebellious. They will challenge us. They will challenge the traditional idea of everything. So I can only do once for one school. But I got to cherish my chance.
By the way, do you also write your own novels?
No, I don't write my own.
Do you try?
I never try because I know I am only good at something. And that something is trying to encourage people and to promote the idea. I'm not very good at writing my own story. So the best thing I do is I try to encourage people to write their own story. But not me. I don't have that kind of
But some people
talent.
will say that you're a very good translator. You write Chinese quite well, so you are supposed to write your own novel.
But I'm only a good translator. I'm not a good writer. So the dream for me is I want to encourage those young kids to become the best writer they could be. And I can be only their tutor, their translator, but not me. I cannot be. Well, people were always saying that, okay, you finish the translation of Lord of the Rings, you must be a good writer. So let's write something. I always refuse them because I know it's not what I do best. What I do best is I am very good at encourage people, and I'm very good at writing funny stories, but not doing my own story.
And apparently you're very good at translation. And translation is a tool, a niche for you to do all kinds of things. And as we know that you're also promoting the so-called translation program for the MIT Open Course Online. Tell us more about it.
Well, actually, in 2002, MIT started a very interesting project. They try to open all their courses online, including some videos and lots of the PowerPoints and lecture notes and everything. And it's very, very good. I kind of found the story on internet, and I said, wow, MIT is so generous. They're going to share everything with us. So I sit there and try to enjoy everything. Okay, that's pretty cool. But the problem is, my English is not bad, but I still want to read everything in Chinese because it's actually easier. I spend less time doing that.
That's right.
So after I wait for like 2 years, nobody else is doing the translation work. I was thinking that, okay, maybe some president of a certain university will do that, or maybe our Ministry of Education will do that, but no. After 2 years, nobody's doing that. So I decided, just like Lord of the Rings, I decided, okay, if nobody else is doing that, I'm going to take the job.
But apparently you're not able to do all the translation of all the courses.
Yes.
This is volunteer work, right?
Yes.
So how can you invite other people to join this very important program?
Well, I should put it like an honorary system. Back in the old days, when people were asking you to join a charity work, they would say, okay, professor, you're going to donate some money for us, or you're going to help us to take care of the elders or sweep the floor. But you were trained in universities for like 10 years. What you do best is what your expertise lies. For example, for me, it should be electronic engineering. For somebody else, maybe nuclear engineering. But our old system, our old charity work system, asks them to donate money and not their expertise. So what we're doing right now is actually we ask them to donate their expertise. If you're a professor or your students in nuclear engineering, you come to join us and help us to translate that work in MIT and share your knowledge with other people.
I see. But again, it's a very time-consuming and very also resource-consuming.
But you will live forever. By live forever, I meant that if you finish the work, we'll put your real name and your biography there. And maybe even after 20 years, when your son tried to Google your name on that, they will say, okay, my dad is doing something very good. My dad is translating some article from MIT's nuclear engineering department. That's the biggest motivation. Everybody wants to do something, want to help other people, and they also want to be remembered as someone who's doing good things. So that's the biggest motivation.
Yeah, but when we come back, we'll talk about other alternative ways of doing it.
Yes.
Some people have been saying that they can use the Dr. Eyes or whatever to do that, whether that's a good approach or not. We will talk about that.
Sure.
So stay with us. We'll be back after these messages.